the High Court essentially came and said whatever happened at the Political Parties Tribunal and that was ruled upon then remains. And of course we know that when the court gives an order, we all abide by it, no? I mean...
the Political Parties Tribunal is also a court, and it gave orders, and the orders were ignored. They were ignored by IBC, they were ignored by UDA, they were ignored by Senate, the Speaker of the Senate, the Parliamentary Service Commission Chair. They were ignored by everyone. So I am, to me, it's that thing of, we already know that these people are not going to follow court orders.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not holding my breath.
So what's your last point of call? Like, you are nominated senator, already there is a reinstatement, you are in court, the court has already made serious rulings to your favor. And then what?
Well, for me, it's a matter of being vindicated. And I have been vindicated. And I've been vindicated over and over for the last 1 year. It's been 1 year, actually.
Yeah.
We're going into May, it will be 1 year. I was removed in May, illegally removed in May. I was reinstated by the Political Party Tribunal 3 months later. That ruling was ignored. So for me, it is literally being vindicated. Another affirmation that I am on the right path. And it's normally people choose the easier path. But in the long run, they come to realize that the easier path actually was never really the easier path, I can tell you. And now more than ever, I feel that for me, it was an experience I've learned from. I'm glad that I have braved the weather through this 1 year later. There was a huge push by, of course, this government, by specific individuals from Parliament who've been fighting me to make sure that I don't get to see this day in terms of even just my health, my livelihood, my life. And every day that I wake up to speak up for the things I have been speaking up when I was in Senate and outside, for me, it feels like it's a blessing.
Okay.
And I can tell you that the idea of Parliament having been captured, or the idea of Parliament being rogue, because that's what Parliament is right now, as an institution, is being rogue. Because how are you the institution that is mandated to legislate, to create laws? You create the laws, you put them out there, but you're the first institution to not follow the laws. That is the paradox of it all. I can tell you that today, as we sit, Parliamentary Service Commission has a secretary whose contract ended in November 2024.
Gloria.
Wow.
Yes, and he's still in office.
Gloria.
The clerk of the Senate, his contract ended in 2024 November. And if I'm lying, I challenge anyone to bring the contract. And these are people who are still in office, drawing salaries. I was reinstated 3 months after I was illegally removed. There's a very nice lady there who has been drawing a salary illegally. And not only drawing salaries, I can tell you, for instance, those two individuals have been traveling. I was reading a Twitter thread of someone who lost their loved one because that particular county didn't have a CT scan, and then someone commented and said if they would just take 4 vehicles from the government, they would be able to buy a CT scan. You can buy at least maybe 5 CT scans from the salaries and the benefits and the trips that have been utilized by these two individuals who are in Parliament. I can tell you for a fact, I'm talking, and people are saying, yes, I have a vendetta again and again over this individual. Because for me, it is not the individual, it is not the person, but it is the example of the office holders. Because this is the person that also decides whether you get a salary or you don't get a salary. This is the person that stops the salary, or, So for me, it is not the individual. I'm not talking about Kevin Osida. I'm talking about that office and how it has been abused to the extent that Kevin, you can sit in office with an expired contract from November 2024. The chair of Parliamentary Service Commission, I don't know whether he's absent because that is the Speaker, Weta. The commissioners, I don't know what is happening because the commissioners are supposed to make sure that things are streamlined. So that's why when you ask me, we have orders. We are giving orders, but we are giving orders to people who in themselves are already breaching their own standing orders, their own laws that they were placed. The institutions that were placed to oversight are in fact acting rogue. Are those the people you're expecting will implement orders? To bring in someone who has been calling out and saying this is wrong, this has to be right.
So then you can hear the cry of Kenyans then, because if we're talking about the systems that have essentially been set up within government to run the country, if they are operating outside the lines that have been drawn constitutionally, then what do you expect will happen when it comes to the securing of livelihoods of Kenyans? And I'll continue